How proud are you to be a UCF Knight?
It's really important for me. As I mentioned earlier, I grew up here, so it's really important for me because I get to play for the team I grew up watching. So that just means a little bit extra for me.
Is there a moment where you went, wow, I'm wearing the black and gold?
Yeah. Really, it was my first moment in the Tulane game in 2020. It was my first game suiting up after coming back from injury, and I really just, when I ran out the tunnel, it was like that wow moment for me. Like, this is really happening. I'm really playing. So that was really special for me.
You talked about opportunities with Kobe being held back for most of spring. What do you think it's meant to the other guys in your unit?
It's been really important, especially for the younger guys, because like X is playing some of that position now, and then some of the younger guys like Burdell Richardson and Tyree Patterson, they're really stepping up and getting some of those gold first-team reps, which is really important for them for their development, especially as younger players.
And Coach Harris is back, and he's working with the wide receivers. What's he like coaching?
He's a really good coach. He's very honest with you, and that's important as a player, because you need to hear when you do bad, and you need to hear when you do good. So knowing that he's going to be honest with you is really important for helping develop.
Is that hard to hear when you've made a mistake?
Yeah, it is hard to hear because it's kind of something you have to swallow. It's like it's hard to take, but you need to hear it to get better.
When you were growing up, did you have all the gear? Did you like have like a jersey? Did you like all the kids have? Is that kind of what you were?
I came to a lot of the fan fest here, so I still have some posters that were signed from like 2008, 2013, 2017, like those type of teams. I have all those posters in my room still. They're still up.
Who was your favorite player when you were growing up?
I really like Trylko Smith, and that's someone I really try to model my game after. Some guy who can catch deep balls, and wasn't the fastest guy like me, but he was just really physical, and he always took pride with those contested catches.
Do you ever think that you're signing an autograph for a kid that in a few years will be on this team?
Yeah, it is kind of interesting, and I kind of how I felt with, because I have all these autographed posters and footballs and stuff in my room. And it's like, hold on, like I kind of flipped the switch now. It's kind of, I'm doing it for other people now. So it's really important for me that I try to do the same thing. I try to sign all these kids' posters that won them because it could inspire them to one day join the team. Like
you ever meet any of those guys? Have you met Trylko?
I have, yeah. It's definitely in the fan fest. I met him, but I think he actually follows me on Instagram now, which is pretty cool.
So you met him as a kid before you got to the team, right?
Yeah.
So okay,
but not since. Have you talked to him since?
No, not really. I haven't really kept in touch with him, but that would be that's someone I see as a mentor, but like not like a personal mentor, just someone like he's been successful, and that's who I want to model my game after.
Is there a favorite game of yours growing up? Maybe one that you saw that you thought, man, that was,
Yeah.
I'm sure you had some like moments, but
yeah.
What were some favorite games or moments that you maybe saw?
My favorite that I watched in person was probably the 2017 1-4. I was there for that game, and that was really important. It was the undefeated season, and really close game, and just really electric and thrilling. So that was most important for me as a fan. It made me think like I want to do this too, because like that's important. Like it's super fun to watch, but I want to be part of it.
And you talked a little earlier about the mentality of being kind of a walk-on. There are a lot of guys who've been walk-ons who then earn scholarships and find their way. I mean, you have to be really mentally tough, don't you?
Yeah.
Because again, you're going in there, you're battling with guys, and you're trying to get that spot.
Right.
I mean, do you feel that way? Do you feel like how much more mental toughness you have?
It's mental toughness is very important as a walk-on, because sometimes it's really hard to get yourself going, because it's like I don't get as many opportunities. It's hard, but you really just got to push through and seize your opportunities when you get them, because it's super important. And I made a really good first impression with Coach Malzahn in his first practice, so that kind of gave me a step up. And I feel bad for some of the other walk-ons, because sometimes they don't get those opportunities, and they're just as talented as everyone else, but they don't get to show it as much.
What was that moment that you say made a difference with Coach Malzahn?
It was the first practice and his first spring here in spring 2021, and one of our guys went down with an injury, like pulled a hamstring or something, and I jumped in there in a position that I hadn't been playing, but it was something that I had studied because I try to learn things conceptually from an offense. So I jumped in when some guy went down because they just needed a guy, and I made a play. And from that moment, he always had the trust in me that I could step in anywhere on the field and go make a play and do my job.
You mentioned, was it like wide out slot? Was it, or I mean, have you like tried to learn how to do like tight end, for instance, or you try to learn other spots just maybe to get opportunities to get?
There's been talks about it, but mostly I've stayed at wide out. I've done some slot too, but Pretty much anything on the wideout, I've played all the positions.
Okay.
So I kind of know everything because I learned things conceptually, and I have pretty good memory, so that helps out too.
With this move to the Big 12, you've seen UCF climb up in the recruiting rankings. How have you noticed that on the field and during practice, the quality of talent change over your years here?
Well, especially since I've been here, it's definitely grown. And for me as a player, it just makes it more competitive, which is even better from a defense perspective, but also from a wide receiver room. Our receiver room has always been good, but I feel like it keeps getting better. So it's really important for me because it helps me compete against my teammates, but also helps me compete against the defense because we're bringing in better talent too.
When the season ends on a loss like it did, how is that motivating for you and for your teammates?
It's really important because it just gives us an extra motivation to come back next season because we can't let that happen again. And I've been here for 4 years, and we've been, I think, 1-3 in bowl games. So those are tough to swallow because normally the bowl games are like, that's the time to have fun, but also to really show for the last time of the season. And for those seniors, it's hard for them to go out on a loss. So that's really what gives me motivation. Now I'm a senior; it's my last year, so I don't want to go out on a loss.
How fast has this gone?
Very fast. It's been like a blur. I feel like just yesterday I was walking in, getting my first training in the training room and getting my first tests and my EKGs and all that, and it's like, this is really it. Like, this is my last time to do this.
Do you still get tingles when you feel nervous when you come through the tunnel?
A little bit. It's not the same as it was the first time, but I still get it, and it's going to probably do the same thing this year because this is my last time to be able to do it as UCF Knight.
How good could this team be? I know that's a question we all ask, and everybody's, especially in spring. But what's your sense? I mean, you've been through some spring camps. What's your sense of what the potential is for this year's team?
I think this team has the potential to be really good, especially offensively, but also defensively too. Like, we brought in Coach Roof as the new DC. He's been challenging us offensively. They've been bringing a lot of pressure, and I think it's really good for our offensive line, but also for our passing game because we have to be able to counter that with different types of route concepts when they're bringing pressure. And so getting that experience now is going to be really important for teams of the Big 12 because teams of the Big 12 also like to pressure too. So I think that's going to be a really good experience for us, and it'll help us take our game to the next level.
What's the biggest difference between John Rice Plumlee and KJ Jeffrey? I mean, they're different guys, but from your perspective, running routes.
Yeah, I think they're very similar in the way they throw the ball. Obviously, the biggest thing is KJ's a lot bigger, so his release point's a little bit higher. So catching, it took a little bit getting used to, but with our throwing sessions in January, February, it's pretty easy to pick up on because I play with a lot of quarterbacks here. So it's been really easy to pick up, and he throws a nice softball when it comes to the deep balls. He puts them in the bucket, and he can put some zip on it too on short routes. So it's been really good, and I'd say the biggest difference is just the release point between him and John Rice.
You mentioned at the podium mentoring younger athletes. So what do you take pride in that?
I think just taking my experiences from the older guys when I got here. I mean, Jacob Harris was here, and Trey Nixon was here, and those guys, they kind of did the same thing with me, and they wanted to take me under their wing so that they could see me grow in my development. So that's really important for me, and I thank them for that because they helped me get where I am now.
The whole span of things, right? From being mentored to being the mentor.
Right.